Alright, if you watched the last video, then you already have this plan set up on your view. Let's see, this should have been, why is that showing? Well, I'm not, oh, there it goes. Okay, wasn't sure why that crop region was showing, but then it must have been that I had it highlighted. So we're going to be creating a detail that cuts through the edge of the slab, the detail is going to show up over here somewhere. So in order to create the detail first, we're going to go to our section view, which is on the section sheet. And I want to create a call out of just the foundation and put it on that foundation plan. So here we have all of our annotation for our full wall section. If you've followed the annotation video, you already have that done. We're going to create a new call out here so that we are able to generate information about how our slab and our haunch are being built. Okay, so I'm double clicking on the view to make it active, and I'm going to use the view tab and the call out tool to create a call out that wraps around the area that I want to see to create my detail. And I'm not sure how far in I need to go yet. I think I'll make that somewhere around here, and I can adjust it afterwards. This call out bubble can go over here, and then once we drag and drop that onto a sheet, then that information is going to show up inside that bubble. So I'm going to double click outside the view now, and I've just created this call out. It should show up here under sections. There's the call out that I just made. I'm going to rename that call out Haunch Detail. And then I will drag and drop that haunch detail onto this sheet. So I can find that haunch detail, drag and drop it onto this sheet, and let's put it right here for now. Now, as soon as I did that, if you do have your views set up so that they show up with a label once we put more than one view on the sheet, then we've got to fix the label positions. If you didn't get any labels, then what you want to do is select one of the views. Make sure you have the viewport selected. Hit Edit Type, and then make sure that across from Show Title you have When Multiple Viewports as an option. Okay? And then you may have to move these views labels around so that they look a little bit better. This one seems to be fine. I think I might shorten it a little bit. And then we're ready to go. So this is at a 1/2 inch equals a foot. I think that's going to work, but I'm going to expand the view a little bit. So I want to change the amount of space that I have around the view so I have enough room for annotation. And the type of annotation I'm going to put in here, let's hide the crop region. So I'll move the view over a little bit so I have room for it. Kind of annotation is just going to be the size of the thickness of the slab. It's going to match what you have more or less on the example sheet that shows what that detail should look like. You've already done the sketch for this, so you know what this is supposed to look like. I'm going to be creating the same callouts. Okay. Now I'm going to double click in the view and start to add those callouts. So one of the first things that I want to do is add the Undisturbed Earth material and things like that. So I'm going to go under the Annotate tab, and I want to create, pardon me, a filled region. So this filled region is going to end up being the clean fill that we end up creating for space underneath the slab. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball that, and I'm going to extend that past where the crop region is, and then bring that right up underneath the slab, and then follow the underside here of the haunch and basically create that shape. When I hit the checkbox, we're going to end up with this checkered pattern, but that's because it said the filled region is set to diagonal crosshatch. I'm going to edit the type. I'm going to duplicate it and rename that Clean Fill. And then fill pattern is going to become just a sand hatch pattern. So find the sand hatch pattern in this list of drafting patterns and hit OK. So we just created a new pattern. The other material we need to see here is the Undisturbed Earth. And so I'm recognizing that I might need a little bit more space for my view. So I'm going to double click outside the viewport, drag this up a little bit further. Don't worry about that overlapping because it's not going to show. And then double click inside the space, turn on the crop region, and give myself a little bit more room this way. Okay. Now I can turn off the crop region, and we'll move this haunch detail later. So this is the area. This is going to become a grade line. I'm going to draw on top of that for that to be a grade line. Or I could select it, and I think I can change the thickness of the edge of the boundary. Let's see, edit boundary. Let's see what the line thickness is. Yeah. So if I grab well, it looks like I have to do it this way. So let's see if I can grab them like that. So I grab all of the lines and I decide to make them a wide line. That makes sense because that's a transition point. So I might as well make that a wide line and then hit the checkbox. If we show our line weights, you can see that there's going to be a thick line like that. Okay. All right. Now the next filled region we want to create, we do the same thing. Filled region is it's going to be representing the undisturbed earth. So I just want to kind of create a shape underneath what I've already got for the haunch detail, just like that. And I actually want to straighten this out just a little bit. There we go. So you're just creating a shape. It doesn't really matter. This is going to represent the grade line here. I want all of these lines also to be thick, or at least this one I want to be a wide line over here. And then this one I want to be, these three, or four rather, three, I want to be invisible. So you can turn them into invisible lines so they don't show. And then when you hit the checkbox, we're going to get that crossed hatch region again, but I want that to be a new type. So I'm going to hit edit type again, duplicate it, call this earth, and then you should find an earth hatch pattern in this list. There it is right there. So there's our detailing for the clean fill and the undisturbed earth. Now we would add some text. So I'm going to add text, put it right on the clean fill, and let's change it to just text with no arrows. So I'll add text, no arrows, and call that clean fill. I can do the same. This time I can put in an arrow, and let's see, let's point to the undisturbed earth. Alright, so I was hoping this was going to happen. So see how it says, it gives us a warning. It says none of the created elements are visible in the section. So what that means is that that annotation we just put in was too far outside of the crop region for it to appear in the detail. So just ignore this for now, close it, hit escape to get out of creating text, and then turn on your crop region and either move this annotation thing out a little bit further. And by the way, if you don't have this annotation thing for the crop region, go down and then turn on annotation crop under extents. So make sure that that's turned on, and then that should show up. And then all I'm going to do is just move that out far enough so that it has enough room for this undisturbed earth to fit in the place. Okay? Then you turn off the crop region and you should be all set. I'm going to add dimensions. And the dimensions are going to, there's our dimension for 4 inches for our slab. Another way to do that is you could just point to it. I think I like that better. You can point to the slab, call it out, 4-inch concrete slab, And then I might add the extra information with W1.4 by W1.4 welded wire fabric, and then at bottom quarter. And if, yeah, that looks like that's going to fit there. If it's not quite in the right spot, use this move tool to move it up a little bit. So I would add a second arrow that's going to point to where our welded wire fabric is. So I want to make the welded wire fabric line. So we would go to Annotation, Detail Lines, and I want this to be a wide line. And I'm just going to kind of zoom in and put a line across here like that. Once the line is drawn, select it, right-click, go into Override Graphics and View by Element, and you should be able to find, for pattern, the dash dot that we want. That would be the pattern for the welded wire fabric. You hit Apply, hit OK. There's the dash dot pattern. When we see it with thick lines, it's going to look like that. And I want this arrow now to have a second arrow that's also pointing to that. So I can select that annotation. We have this plus add left arrow, and I can just reposition it so it points to the welded wire fabric, and it also points to the concrete slab. Let's put some dimensions over here. So we put some dimensions that go from the slab to the grade rather, and then down to the bottom of the slab. And I do want to get rid of these leading zeros, so I'm going to select the dimension in Edit Type. Scroll down and across from Units Format. Turn off Use Project Settings and turn on Suppress 0 feet. There. Now this should say 6 inches minimum, so I'm going to double click on that and put below minimum. And this doesn't say the right thing. I want this to say 12 inches minimum, but I don't want to change the haunch. So I'm going to double click on that and type in 12 inches, and then below put in minimum. So it's going to ignore this, and sorry, we're going to replace the text with 12 inches and then minimum. Okay, I have to change this to descriptive. Let's see. Okay, I think I figured this out. So you want to double click on this, and we'll have to replace with 12-inch minimum here. You can't put it down here. And then they're going to overlap a little bit, but then you can take this drag text button and drag it out, and it will automatically add a leader for you. And now we have the correct annotation for that. I don't like that we're not seeing a concrete hatch within the haunch, so I'm going to hit the tab key until I have the haunch selected. There's the haunch right there. And I want to edit the type. And I'd like to see for material, instead of by category, I want to put here concrete. So let's try this one. And then the hatch pattern shows up inside of there as well. One more dimension, so let's hit a line dimension, going from underneath the slab down to that undisturbed earth, and we're going to get this funky number. Don't worry about that being more than 24, because I'm going to just double click on it, and I'm going to replace it with 18 to 24 inches as a range. And I believe that ends up being all of our callouts for the haunch. So that's it. We have our slab plan, our detail. Let's move that haunch label down a little bit so it's not covering the detail. And that would be the extent of our foundation information for this slab on grade foundation, that is.